Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest headaches in machine learning, figuring out what your AI models are actually doing once they're out in the wild.
So picture this. You've spent weeks, maybe months, training this amazing model. You've tested it, you're happy with it, and you push it to production. But the second it goes live, poof, you lose all visibility. It just becomes this black box. It's making predictions, sure, but you have no easy way of knowing how well it's performing, if the data it's seen has changed, or why it's making the decisions it's making. And that's a huge blind spot for any team.
And you know this blind spot? It's where the trouble starts. A model's performance can slowly, silently degrade over time. The real-world data can drift away from what it was trained on, making its predictions less and less accurate. And oh man, if you're trying to manage multiple versions of a model, good luck keeping track of which one is doing what. It becomes a real mess. And that right there is the heart of the problem. Without a window into what your model is doing day to day, all these issues, performance decay, data drift, subtle errors, they can go completely unnoticed, sometimes for weeks or even months, quietly messing with your business outcomes until one day something breaks in a big, very noticeable way. So what's the solution? How do we crack open that black box? Well, this is exactly where the White Box AI SDK comes into play. It's designed to be one single, super simple tool that gives you that critical visibility across all of your models. And the best part? It only takes a few lines of Python code.
All right, so how hard is it to get this up and running? Turns out it's incredibly simple. We're talking 4 basic steps that'll take you just a few minutes. First, you sign up and get your API key. Then it's the classic pip install command. You set that key as an environment variable and boom, you're ready to register your first model. It's really that fast.
And when we say simple, we mean it. Look at this. Registering a model is literally one line of code. You just give it a name, a version, and a little bit of info about its features and what it predicts. This single command sets everything up on the platform, creating a home for all your model's future performance data. Okay, now this is the magic trick. See that little @log predictions thing? That's a Python decorator, and it is so cool. You just place it right on top of your existing prediction function. And from that moment on, every single prediction that function makes gets automatically logged. You don't have to change a single line of your actual prediction logic. It's honestly kind of elegant. All right, so this is where things get really powerful. We're not just talking about one specific kind of model. The whole idea here is to give you a single, unified way to monitor your entire universe of models, whether it's a simple classifier or a giant, complex large language model. And the whole point here is to have one consistent way of doing things. It doesn't matter if you've got a basic scikit-learn model, another model that's version controlled with Git, or even a sophisticated Hugging Face transformer. You don't need to juggle a bunch of different tools. It's the same simple workflow for everything. Let me show you what I mean. So let's say you have a standard scikit-learn model. All you do is pass your trained model to this wrap model function. What you get back is a new monitored version of your model. You use it in exactly the same way. You still just call .predict, but now behind the scenes, every single prediction is being sent off and logged. Now, this is something I find absolutely brilliant. When you register your model, you can just drop in some metadata like the git commit hash and the branch it came from. This is so powerful because if you ever see a dip in performance, you can trace it back to the exact version of the code that created that model. No more guesswork. And what about those big, complex models like from Hugging Face? Well, check this out. The before is your standard pipeline. The after, you just add one single line to wrap that pipeline. That's it. From then on, every time you run that classifier, its inputs and outputs are automatically logged. You get full visibility into your most advanced models with almost zero effort. Okay, so we've covered how to get all this data flowing in. Now for the best part, turning all those raw logs into insights you can actually use to make decisions. This is where the magic really happens. And as soon as you're set up, you'll see this beautiful, detailed log start to fill up. For every single prediction, you can see exactly when it happened, what input features were used, what the model predicted, and even how confident it was. It gives you this perfect, auditable trail of everything your model has been doing. And the system takes all that raw data and starts looking for really important patterns, like data drift. What is that, you ask? Well, it's basically when the live data your model is seeing starts to look different from the data it was trained on. This is one of the #1 reasons that good models go bad in production, and it's something you have to keep an eye on. And all of that gets summarized into the metrics that actually matter. Right on your dashboard, you can start tracking things like accuracy and precision over time. You can see your prediction volume, you get a clear data drift score, and you can monitor your error rate. It's all right there. But let's be real, you're not going to sit there staring at a dashboard 24/7. That's why you set up alerts. And it's just 3 easy steps. First, you define the condition. Like, hey, let me know if accuracy drops below 85%. Then you set the time window, say, over the last hour. And finally, you pick how you want to be notified. Email, Slack, you name it. The system then keeps watch for you, so you know the second your model needs attention.
And finally, what about when you need to share this with your team or with leadership? You don't have to spend hours making charts. You can generate these professional, stakeholder-ready reports with a click. They've got an executive summary, clear charts on all the key metrics, and even alert history. It's everything you need to communicate performance with zero manual effort.
So let's just recap what this all means for you. You get to bring all your model monitoring under one roof. You can trace performance problems directly back to the specific line of code that caused them. You can handle your most complex models just as easily as your simple ones. And most importantly, you stop fighting fires and start getting ahead of problems with proactive alerts.
Which really leaves us with one big question to chew on. If you can't actually explain what your model is doing out there in the real world, do you really have control over it? Because gaining that visibility isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential for building AI systems that you can actually trust.